I do know that for you all, you guys are probably like, why is it sending it to CU Denver? We're all one technically still. We will receive your information. The sooner you complete your FAFSA, the better. For those of you that have already completed it, thank you. Once all of that has been received and you guys have been matriculated into the system, we will go ahead and roll out what's called a financial aid award / offer. This package is going to include what you are eligible as far as, loans, grants and scholarships will come after the fact sometimes. For you all though, since you are second time degree seekers, you are no longer eligible for Pell Grant. Unfortunately, Pell Grant is only for students that are seeking degrees for the first time. So primarily loans is what we're going to be looking at here, okay? Any type of notification from my financial aid office is going to go to your CU Anschutz email. So when offers are made, please look out in your email so you can have access to that information on there, okay? The other thing is everything is done through the UCD Access portal. Once you have been admitted and accepted your offer and have a student ID, all of this information will be housed in the UCD Access portal. There are some how-tos on this slide deck on how to look at that information, okay? Everything that you are automatically eligible will be included on the offer. We will not leave anything out like that. Scholarships tend to come later or after the fact because we are notified of those much later. So we're going to have the most current information, which most of the time is loans for you all. If you are getting a private student loan, that will also get added on when you apply or after the fact once we receive the information. The important thing here is everything is not set in stone. We can always make adjustments, but we incorporate all sources of funding except for 529s. For those of you that have 529s or like an educational savings account, that money we do not account for. But if you're getting a private loan, if you're taking federal loan, if you're getting any type of scholarship or grant, all of that will be accounted for, okay, in your financial aid package. So it's important to remember when we're looking at all types of funding that the cost of attendance is not being maxed. What does that mean? What is cost of attendance? That's your budget that you cannot exceed. It accounts for tuition, fees, personal expenses, indirect costs, housing, health insurance. That's that big budget that you guys will see sometimes. If you only want tuition and fees, that's a different number. That's incorporated into the larger cost of attendance budget, okay? So if you get a mix of federal and private loans, we will give it to you up to the cost of attendance. We will not go over the cost of attendance, okay? If you need to increase your budget due to unusual health costs, computer purchase, or childcare appeals, at that point we will, but you will probably be responsible for obtaining the funding through a private lender due to the restrictions on how much we can give you federal, which I will go over. Again, I have to emphasize this every time. We cannot exceed this cost of attendance with any type of funding that you receive, okay? If it does, we are required to reduce it, and it could generate any type of bill or you having to return funds, okay? Now for loan terminology, I'm going to go over exactly what is in your offer. What are you being offered? What types of loans? For those of you that get private lenders, that'll be when the borrower lets you, you guys go find your own lender and you as the borrower have your own terms and conditions. When I say loan servicer, those are the federal loan servicers that are issuing you your subsidized and unsubsidized loans. A subsidized loan is no interest while in school, while the unsubsidized, you are accruing interest in school. So the types of aid that can be on your offer, for those of you getting College Opportunity Fund, that one isn't loaded on there, but that is some type of aid that you can get. The biggest thing that I want to emphasize for you all here is going to be the federal nursing loan, subsidized, unsubsidized. For those of you that are dependent students, the Parent Plus loan, I will go over that. Dependent students are determined by the U.S. Department of Education when you submit your FAFSA, okay? Basically, what that means, if you are under the age of 24, you will probably be considered a dependent student. I hear you all when you say, I'm independent, I pay my own bills, I have my own job. If you are under that age and you are not married, in the military, or have a legal emancipation from your parents, you will be considered dependent, okay? And be eligible for that Parent Plus loan. For those of you, and the vast majority of you will be independent students, at that point, you won't have to worry about the Parent Plus loan being offered, and we cannot offer it for students that are independent, okay? The other type of aid that I want to emphasize for you all is private student loans, because a vast majority of accelerated nursing students have to take private student loans. So I'll go over that one as well. So the first loan, if you are eligible, this will be determined by your SAI, your Student Aid Index number. What that comes from is it determines your need, your financial need per the FAFSA. So not everybody will be eligible for this type of loan. It will be the students whose SAI falls between negative 1,500 and I believe it's roughly 10,000. So if your SAI falls between that, you may be eligible. It also is dependent upon funding. Once we have depleted the budget, there is nothing additional to award, okay? But the reason why this loan is so good is because it's a fixed 5% rate, which is lower than any of the other loans. You are not paying interest while in school, and it does have a longer grace period than the federal other loans. The good thing about this loan is it can be consolidated with your other loans in the future. It is just issued out a little bit differently, okay? But those are the perks for this one. Like I said, not everybody will get this loan, but if you see this loan on your offer, this is going to be the first one that you want to accept. The next one is the direct Stafford loan. So this is subsidized or unsubsidized. Same thing, it has a fixed interest rate. Right now, as it sits, the rate is 6.53%, subject to change in July 1. That will be the rate that affects you. What I have right now, I'm just sharing it because it's the current information, but we will let you guys know what the updated rates will look like for the disbursement of your guys' cohort. The other thing is, while you're in school, you are not mandated to make a payment on either of these two loans. The unsubsidized, though, is accruing interest. But the unsubsidized is accruing interest, but the subsidized is not. With these two loans, you have a 6-month grace period from when you graduate, and then you enter repayment. So this is 3 months less than the other one, okay? This one qualifies for public student loan forgiveness, and so does the other one. So those are the unique features with this one. I'm going to go over kind of the numbers. So as it sits right now, subject to change, again, July 1. Loan origination fee, that is something you're paying the U.S. Department of Education to disperse the loan out to you. You have a 6-month grace period and no credit check. For those of you that are dependent students, the FAFSA will tell you, and we will also tell you, you will be eligible for $7,500 for the academic year, meaning you will get only $7,500 in loans fall, spring, and summer. Most of the time you will deplete it in fall and spring, and there will be nothing to give in summer. So that's where we want you to plan ahead and kind of look at what type of funding you may need to either go private or out-of-pocket expense if that is an option for you. Of this, $5,500 may be subsidized. The other $2,000 will be in the unsubsidized. And then we have, for you all independent students, $12,500. This is what you get for the academic year. We will split it between fall and spring, and most of the time that will leave you with nothing in the summer, okay? So we have to split it in half. Same thing, $5,500 will be subsidized. These numbers are mandated by the U.S. Department of Education. This is something that we as the financial aid office cannot bypass and cannot override. So that's where, you know, the additional funding will be crucial for you guys all to kind of look elsewhere for the indirect costs. Now, for you all, I really want you to think about what it is as a borrower you're looking for. If you're trying to, you know, minimize your borrowing as much as possible, where the biggest parts may be in your housing. I know a lot of you may not be able to work during the program, but ultimately, if you are only borrowing for tuition and fees, really look at what you need. If you guys need full cost of attendance, then it's about obtaining the funding elsewhere or by other means, or, you know, grants, scholarships, 529s, money that you have saved up. So those are all things I want you to factor in and consider, because you will all only get this much in one academic year, okay? For those of you that have hit your lifetime aggregate limits, we cannot give you anything additional. What does that mean? For those of you that have borrowed in your other bachelor program or your other undergraduate program, if you have hit the maximum of federal student loans, which is $57,500 for the independent students and $31,000 for the dependent students. We unfortunately are unable to give you any additional federal loans, okay? Alrighty, so this is where private student loans is going to come into play for a lot of you. We cannot endorse any lenders, so if you all ask us, who do you recommend? We can't recommend just one. We will work with all lenders. We encourage you, when you are finding your own private lender, compare the terms and conditions and make the best decision for you. We will work with anybody again, and you will send the certification over to the University of Colorado, Denver. We will have to look if it fits in your cost of attendance. If it does not fit, we will certify it up. We will try to fit as much as we can into it. The rest of it will not be certified and will not be dispersed. Private lender companies love to tell you guys how much you're eligible for, and most of the time it's more than the cost of attendance. If it exceeds that, just know that portion will not get certified, okay? For those of you, you are welcome to apply for one loan to cover the fall, spring, and summer terms. If you want to apply every single semester, you are more than welcome to do so. I just recommend one big one, just for your credit health, to only have one hard credit check on there. But of course, you guys are welcome to do them per term, and that's completely up to you. For those of you that decide to do the one loan, please let us know how you want us to divide the loan. For those of you that aren't taking full cost of attendance. And we just kind of put an example here. Let's say in total, your loan is $30,000, but you want $5,000 in the fall, 10 in the spring, 15 in the summer. Just reach out to us and kind of let us know, okay? Please note, and I say this now because you guys have more than enough time. When you find a lender and when it's sent over, it can be up to a month processing time to get everything turned around. We're dealing with a third party. So get everything turned around and get disbursements made. So for you all, part of your homework will be also to probably find a lender by June, okay? I encourage that just so that by August, we are ready to go and you guys are not waiting on us. I will say, if you apply for a private student loan 2 days before the billing due date, I can guarantee you the bill is not going to get paid in time, and that is your responsibility, okay? So I encourage you all, if you are going to go the private loan route, please do your research ahead of time. And I know some of them aren't open yet, so you guys have to kind of wait till fall opens up, but that will be the reason for that one, okay? Before accepting aid, federal student loans, as far as this goes, please understand your rights and responsibilities. Same thing, very parallel to the private loan. Calculate how much you need, consider your circumstance. If you have a unique circumstance, you're going to come see us in the office and kind of ask us where you want to go with that. So before accepting any aid, really think about, what do you want to borrow for, right? The other thing is, it's important to remember, you guys can get a mix of both. You can take your full federal amount and private student loans. Some of you may only want to take private, and that is more than okay, but please decline your offer in the portal so that we know you don't want any federal, okay? So we do see that sometimes. In our budget, we do account for about $2,700 a month for living expenses, and that is where that big cost of attendance is coming into play. Please note, aid is not set to cover any type of auto loans, credit card, or other type of debt. This is really for like your personal transportation, your food, your rent, and all of this living allowance is accounted for in our cost of attendance budget. So we really kind of limit what you can get, because we really want you to borrow, strategically and to minimize it for you all. I mean, I know it's early in the cohort, but if you can, maybe find a roommate. That'll really help, give you some space in your budget. Of course, you don't have to, but it is a recommendation to really consider for you all in your borrowing. After you have determined, yes, I want to take federal student aid, it is required that you all complete an entrance counseling and a promissory note. This is you as the borrower agreeing that you will pay the loan back. And also it goes over the interest rates with you all. You guys will ask, but they are in that entrance counseling. It goes over the interest rate, it goes over how interest is fixed. So any questions on that? It is mandatory that those are completed before any type of disbursement is made, okay? Everything can be found in UCD Access. The other good thing is we will tell you what you're missing. So please check your UCD Access, your to-do list. Make sure you are completing everything that needs to be done. Another thing for you all is to set up direct deposit, health insurance. I have attached links for that. I don't want to go too much into health insurance. It's not my department, but it is in our budget. For those of you that would waive out of it, we have added the link to our slide deck here. And we also have added how-to portions, and that's just for you all to be able to accept the aid, how to do that, how to add direct deposit, how to waive insurance. We added all that information there for you. After we're all set to go, we will disperse the aid on your behalf. The bill must be paid to zero before any refund can be made to you. We will not bypass it. We legally just cannot do that. We have to pay the bill first. Once your bill is zero, and then you are good to go. Your bill will generate late July. Disbursements will occur August. The next financial aid disbursement will occur in January, and then the last one for you all will be in May. This is where you're going to get your living refund if you're borrowing for living. So plan accordingly on your budget. You have your first one again in August. The next one will come in January, early January for you all, and then May. Okay. For those of you that don't set up direct deposit, they will mail you a check, okay? And that's with the Bursar's office. So if you have any questions regarding that, I also add their information here. The other thing is for those of you that want to pay your bill or want to pay a portion of it, please pay it before financial aid disperses, or let us know what's going on, because usually we will just fully apply it to the bill and then that'll happen. There are payment plans with the Bursar. Again, I don't want to get too much into that because that is the Bursar's department, but I have added some information here for you all. We are able to adjust your loan amounts if after disbursement occurs, you guys want to change something. You have 45 days to do so, and that is only for federal student loans. For private student loan companies, again, look at your terms and conditions if you want to return money, what that looks like for you, okay? Now, I told you all how to get aid, how aid is dispersed to you. It is important that you know how to keep your aid. Every single term, we will run what's called SAP, Satisfactory Academic Progress. You must maintain a cumulative GPA of 2.0, pass a minimum of 67% of your courses attempted, and then do not exceed more than 150% of the published length of the program. If you are withdrawing or cannot continue with the cohort, please reach out to our office. We will let you know how this is going to affect either your federal student loans or your private student loans. So please reach out to us with that, okay? Financial aid homework, just to wrap it up. Biggest things for you all, complete 2026 FAFSA. If there are any items in your to-do list, please complete them. If you do have outstanding items, we will not process a financial aid award until that is done, okay? And the other thing is just so to check, checks and balances here, complete master promissory note and entrance counseling. You all will have access to this slide deck, and all these links work. So you guys can just click on them and kind of go through the motions of it, okay? I also provided additional resources for you all here, the Bursar calendar, payment plans, registrar, everything above. And then this is where to find us. From 9 to 1, we will advise on in-person walk-ins or over the phone, okay? So I'm going to start answering questions because I know there's a lot. We have about 10 minutes. I'm going to start with the first one. It says, so it looks like with the current administration and possible cuts in the Department of Education, what options do students have for additional aid if FAFSA isn't available? Currently, we are operating like normal. If it's hard to speak on ifs because we don't know what could happen. But if federal funding does not become available, private student loans would be the next option, or external funding. Again, don't quote me on this. We're not there yet, okay? So we're going to do with what we know now and what is currently happening now. And as of right now, the federal aid is there. Rest assured, I hear you all. I completely understand. But right now, let's just operate with what we know, and what we know is federal student loans are still an option. And then the next question is from Stacy. Does this aid take into consideration that we will be a full-time student not making income? Yes, this does, Stacy. The reason why is undergraduate have a set limit of how much you guys are eligible to receive. And the reason behind that is it's something that has been voted on by Congress. We cannot give you more than either the 12,500 or the 7,500. So they do take that into consideration, but unfortunately the limits are set in stone and they're voted on by legislation, Congress, like they are the ones deciding that. We just can't override that, unfortunately. Ashley said, do spouses' income contribute to getting aid? If you receive financial aid from your last degree, can you use it again? Yeah, so you would only be able to use the aid that is available now in this current aid year. But if you are married, yes, your spouse's income is taken into account. And that helps generate your student aid index number. That lets us know kind of where you are in your financial need. This is very similar to those of you who are dependent students. It's going to look at your parent tax info as well. That will get taken into consideration. Again, it's pretty firm. I'm going to reiterate this again. It's firm. 7,500 for dependent, 12,500 for independent students. Ren asked, will we be able to do our financial aid package before we accept an offer into the program? We will be releasing financial aid awards in April. I'm not too sure when your final decision needs to be made. Is the post 9/11 GI Bill accepted for this program? I believe it is. You will want to talk to veteran and military services. That link is in the slide before this one, and go over your GI Bill options. Julie asked, my income is now way different from my tax year in 2023. What steps do I need to take so that my real income can now be taken into account? You already completed 25-26. Let's say you did. You would want to do a reconsideration of income appeal. And that is not available until early to midsummer, okay? We have to wait to roll over till the next year, but you are able to file a reconsideration of income appeal to see if we can change those numbers for you, okay? That is definitely something that we would want to see you in the office so we can kind of look at the numbers with you and run a simulation. And that's for all of you that have that question, you would want to come see us. Kaylin, I hope I'm saying that right. For COF, do you still have access to this if you used it? Yes, you all still have access to it. It's 145 credits, I believe, for lifetime. You are welcome to do a waiver application, and that waiver application will be sent to them, and they may approve you to give you an additional 60 credits or whatever exactly it is to complete the program. Alyssa asked, how long after the FAFSA is filled out should we expect to receive an estimate? April. Financial aid awards will be offered in April. Lauren asked, what is the University of Colorado school code? Perfect. Thank you, Caleb, for answering that one. Kira said, if you are using a private student loan, are you still eligible to apply for scholarships? Yes, you are. And we always encourage you, just because you have the private loan, if you get a scholarship later down the road, we will always apply it and give it to you to your financial aid award and reduce the loan if needed. Mark asked, the Nurse Corps Scholarship is an excellent resource that will pay. You pay back. Okay, it looks like he's giving you guys really great information for the Nurse Corps stuff. That stuff, remember, the living stipend will still get taken into account in your cost of attendance. But yes, Mark is correct. Thank you for adding that in there for everybody. It looks like Sophia had a question and said, will we have access to this recording or this PowerPoint after today? Yes, you will have access to both. You will have access to the presentation and you will also have answers to the slide deck. Perfect. Then it looks like, what is the cost per credit hour / total program cost? The cost per credit hour, we have not got the finalization of numbers just yet. You are welcome to go to our financial aid homepage and look at the cost of attendance for the current cycle students. It shouldn't stray very far from that, but that information is available on there, okay? We're just waiting on the final numbers. When you get your financial aid award in April, it will have that, okay? Stacy said, do you recommend starting the financial aid process once we know we're admitted? Yes, I encourage you, for those of you that are applying to various programs, add all the programs on there. So that the first come, first serve awarding, you're already accounted for. When you make your final decision, you can go back and edit and remove everybody that you're like, okay, I'm not going there. You can go back and edit that. Samantha said, does CU Nursing School match the AmeriCorps Siegel Education Award? Oh, that's a good question. You know what, Samantha? Let me get back to you on that one. Because I'd have to ask with that one. I don't know if we match offers technically for those. I do know that how we deal with those ones, this one might be a little unique, okay? Mona said, what is the cost of attendance for in-state residents attending the UCAM program? I believe I already came across the number, but wanted to clarify. Again, we have published the 24-25 numbers. 25-26 has not been published yet, but we are looking to publish that in the near future, okay? When the financial aid award is available, you will have access to that. Lauren, does independent and dependent determination depend on your age when you start the program? It is determined by the U.S. Department of Education, and it's dependent on your birth year necessarily. So it depends on technically when you are going to turn 24. We are able to see that information, and when you complete the FAFSA, it will tell you if you are independent or dependent, and it will tell you why. It's usually based off of the way that the year goes with the financial aid year. Catherine, this is off topic, but I wanted to know, what is the time frame to know if we are accepted, waitlisted, etc.? I will defer that to Nicolette.
Yeah, that'll be answered at the end of the presentation today. So you'll get all of that.
Perfect. All right, Mariana. So if I surpass the federal loan cap when I was dependent, am I not eligible for federal student loans now that I am independent? You are, because now that you are independent, your limit has been increased to 57,500. We still take into account what you've already borrowed, so the 31,000. So you still have room, about 27,000. So yes, you technically are still eligible because your limit has been increased. Caitlin, if I am under 24 and got a private student loan, would they only pull my tax information and not my parents'? That is a question you will want to ask the private lender. I believe they will pull the information for whoever's, on the loan. If it's just you by yourself, I assume they may only ask for that. But again, that is where you will want to check with your private loan company or bank. Kylie said, if we are an independent family but are considered dependent because of age, how would this impact our financial aid taken into account with our parents' 2023 tax year? If we are independently financially considered dependent, you're just still going to be considered dependent. It's going to just collapse yours and your parents. We're going to take both of your information. The biggest impact that this may have is to your SAI. And as far as what you are eligible for, you will be eligible for the Parent Plus loan. But that's really how that information is taken into consideration. Other than that, if you're really trying to become independent, like I said, there are appeals for that. But again, usually students that are married, active military, that will be the option for that.
And then we could probably answer like one more question, Liza. I know you have
Okay.
things to do. So just one more question and then we'll move on.
Perfect. I'll answer this last one because it does look like this one is different. Are there any scholarships through CU? Yes, there are scholarships, but you will want to contact College of Nursing. Okay, for that one. I'm sure Nicolette will tell you the process on that as well. Again, you will all have access to this slide deck, and I will share this video with Nicolette for you all to have, okay? Thank you so much for your time. I do apologize for going. I want to get as much of those questions answered.
I appreciate it, Liza. Thank you so much. And Nicole, thank you as well for being here. Appreciate it.